नमो अरियन्तानं नमो सेदानं नमो आयर्यानं नमो वचायानं नमो लोये सवसहुनं एसो पञ्चनमोकारो सर्वपावपनाशनो मङ्गलानं चे सर्वेशं परमं हवै मङ्गलम् परमं हवै मङ्गलम् நீராறும் கடலொடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராரும் வதனமென திகழ் பரத கண்டமிதில் தெக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடன திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறைநுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மனக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிடமை திரும்பியது செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே.
Welcome to new week and the fifth day of the 1 week FDP. This will be the last session that Dr. Balakrishnan Natarajan will be handling in this FDP. Having set the tempo, the intensity of learning the R programming in this FDP will soar and reach new heights. I now request Dr. Balakrishnan Natarajan sir to share his knowledge in the software with the participants. Sir, kindly take over and lead the participants through the session.
Good afternoon, all present here. So let me start the session. Is my voice audible?
Yes, sir, it is audible.
Thanks. Is my screen is shared? It's possible for you to view?
Yes, sir, we are able to see your screen.
Yes. Good afternoon, one and all. So let me start my concluding session today. So on the day I have delivered about basic types and then basic data types, the vectors, and then we had arrays, matrices. Okay, and apart from these things, today we are going to have a very important concept that is in R. As well as this is also provided in Python. But in using in R, it's quite simple. It's quite simple to use it. That is nothing but today we're going to see about lists, data frames. Okay, and meanwhile, in between of these two things, we used to have how to read the data and how to write the data into a file. Okay, and all those things we are going to see. And the last concluding part. As on the day, some professors have asked about graphics, how to have the chart and all those things. We'll have some simplified things. The time will not be possible, I think so. And I'll show how to plot the graphics. First, let me start with the list. So, our list is an object consisting of a collection of elements, several objects. So, it can have several components. So, as per this thing here, family, okay, father, mother, and the children, and each children ages has been displayed. So these things normally we used to have the list, students list, okay, or even a mark list, okay, and then we might have family list. Okay, those are all having the card, other details list, folders list. So accordingly, it can comprises of several types of data. It might be text, or it might be string, or it might be numeric values, okay, or it might be any alphanumeric values. So all those things is comprises into a single list. Okay, so example given here it is, I'm going to create a list. So this might be the function to create the list. So list is a function, and in between the parameters, you will have the values. You will have the values. Okay, so the syntax will be shown in the next screen. Okay. So we're going to create a list with the name as LST. Okay, and here in accessing the several components, so these are all the components. So in accessing these components, it is required for you to use double square brackets. Okay, double square brackets. So if double square bracket is used for the name with its value, okay, with its value, mean that it means that it is going to have a list with its component. Okay, and as per this case, LST of 1 means name of the family Fred. Okay, another way Fred. And similarly, LST of 4 means the ages of the children. Okay, the child. Okay. And the main difference here is if you refer with single bracket, that will be referred as an array. Okay, as a single value. Okay, but in this case, if you refer that as a double square bracket, it will be referred as a list. Okay, I'll show the difference between these two operations. Okay, let me first create the list. So okay, a list has been created. Okay, so the name, the component name. Okay, name as Fred, and wife is another component name as Mary, and number of children is a next variable name. It consists of 3, and similarly their ages. Okay, this might be another submission. Okay, and here, so if you refer LST of so my R screen is visible. So if you refer as a double square bracket, so it takes the value of that. Okay, but if you refer as a single square bracket, you can see the difference of that. Okay, so here it is referred as a subscript, but here retrieves the list value. So there is a difference between double square bracket. So this might be a list, and this might be an array. Okay. And similarly, you can also refer the list with either the value, okay, or by its component. Or by its component. You can see that. Okay, both the thing is possible. Okay. And this might be the syntax. List. This as per your wish, you can have the name. Okay, you can have the name of that. Okay, as per your wish, you can have the name, user-defined name, and this might be the function syntax. Okay, you're going to create a list, the name of the component, its value, etc. It goes on. Okay, as per your wish, you can create n number of objects under a single list. Okay, and another example, I'm going to create a matrix. Okay, with these values, and number of rows might be 2. And I'm going to add as a 5th component of the LST. Okay, and you can see that I will have it. So I'm going to create. Okay, MJT has been created. So with 2 rows, and in which we're going to add as a 5th component. Okay. You can see that previously, so you have only 4 components, 1, 2, 3, and 4. As a fifth component, you're going to add the value as matrix. Okay, now you can see LST. Okay, the first might be the name, second wife, third number of children, and accordingly, fifth might be your matrix. Okay. And here the list components can all may be named. Okay, can also be named according to a wish you can name it. Okay. And in referring the components, these are the several different types. One, you can refer it by double square bracket, and another one, you can access the component by like this. Okay, name followed by dollar symbol and component name. So list, actually previously I have created LST as a list, and I can access the component. So you can understand that in your LST dollar name, there is a thread that we got. Either you can refer it like this or like this. Okay, and similarly, child.age is another component of LST. Either you can refer it. So here in the case of child, you're having 3 values. Okay, 3 children, 3 values. So to specifically access the first child age, you can either refer like this or like this. Okay, so the second value refers the second list value. Either you can refer like this or like this. Okay. And let me add working on that. Okay, and similarly, if you simply refer like that, it gives you all the details. Okay, all the 3 values. Okay, and specifically, if you want to make it, you can make that. Okay. So let me have this one. Okay. The 7, just the second value. Okay. And that is a thing of list. You can construct, you can modify, you can append, you can access. Okay. And next, regarding the setting the directories, on the day one professor have asked about how to store the data. Okay, on the day itself, I told that if you're defining a value, if you're defining a variable, while defining that variable, you used to access that with the thing like this. So x is equivalent to c of 1, 2, 3. So you will access like that. So x will have the values get assigned on that. Sorry, I have made a mistake on that. So instead of hyphen and name. So x will be having the values 1, 2, 3. Okay, here it compares less than or equal to. That is the thing we made. Okay, and here I'm assigning the value 1, 2, 3. So x will have these values, and upon the variable x, a certain memory will be allocated. Okay, and in that memory, the particular value will be stored. So apart from this, so this particular variable allocation will be there in the workspace itself. And in future, if you want to use it, you can save it as a R data, as I told on the day. So file, save the workspace. If you give that, it gives you the thing as. So the thing is loading. Okay, so it will be saved as so and so. If you give a if you give the file name as a, so it will be stored as a.r data. So it will store as a.r data. Okay. So if you have saved this particular workspace will be saved as a.r data. Okay, in R's location. Okay, so that is another one way. Apart from this, so if you saving this workspace as R data, in future you can retrieve that. Okay, you can retrieve. Similarly, you can load the workspace. Okay, you can load the workspace. Okay, accordingly you can load it and you can access it. But apart from that, okay, you can also save in several file formats. Okay, several file formats. So that is the next slide we are going to look over. Okay. Before going into that, so most probably we used to install the packages in C colon. So if you save anything, that will be saved in C colon. There is a R where you are located in that location where R is installed. Either it might be C or D, whatever the case. So in that prompt, the data will be saved. Instead, you can save it in your preferred location. So software might be maybe in one location, and your data might be in another partition, another location. So if you save in that way, your data will be secured. In some cases, if your operating system gets corrupted, it's not possible for you to retrieve if you save the data in SQL itself. So it is preferred to have all your data in second partition. That is another column, another location. Okay. So for that, it is required for you to set the directory. Okay. So set the directory, but by default, if you have saved the data, it will prefer in R's location. So you want to change that. Okay. So let me have the thing to set the workspace, work data space. So for that, you're going to use set W. Okay, and by which you can prompt your savings in the path what you're going to refer here. Okay, either you can follow this format or this format. Okay, so you can set the work space for your data to store by using this command. Similarly, okay, you want to know in which location you are. So to know that, you can get WD function can be used to know the location of the current vacancy. So let me demonstrate that. So let me give get W. See, this is my current prompt. Okay, if I save any data, so that will be saved in C colon users LCA documents.
Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry to interrupt. Participants are saying they are not able to hear you. There is some background noise in your.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Let me look over it, ma'am. Ma'am, is it possible now for you to hear clearly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, okay. And this is the get W. So the current location is C colon. Okay, and this can be changed. And this can be changed to the location. So let me have actually my workings will be there in. This is my actually I used to have. So this is my location. Okay. So I used to save E colon department 2020 R12. So this is my current location. I'm going to set this location to retrieve the data or to store the data. So let me have this one. So set W. Okay, now you can see the get W. So the current prompt is E colon department 2020 R12. So if I read anything data, I can get it from this location. Okay, and if you write it, you can write the thing in this location. So this is the way you can change your. This is the way you can change your prompt. And this is the thing. You can set the current working. You can set the current working space with set W, and you can get the current working by using get W. And similarly, to know the files. Okay, to know the files, you can use this list.files. Okay. So these are the three different functions that can be used for setting the directories. And importing data files in R, it supports all formats. You can extract all the formats. So either it might be a comma separated CSV file or text file, okay, or even a Excel file, or you want to have a SPSS, MATLAB files, or even Minitab files. So whatever the case, R can able to extract the data. Okay, you can get into R by the facility function called read. Okay, read table, read CSV, like that it goes on. Read dot XLS, like that you can make. Okay, as per my thing, I'm going to read the CSV file. So this is my syntax. So I'm going to read the file. Actually, my current location is E colon. So from E colon, I'm going to extract emp1.csv. So let me have the opening of that. So emp. So this is the file. What I'm going to extract to R. Okay, this is the file. Well, I'm going to extract to R. Okay. Okay. So similarly, if you want to read a text file, you can make it. Okay, you can make it. Okay. Similarly, if you want to extract the SPSS file or any files like that, okay, you can post a script file. Okay, you can make the thing by using the read. Okay, by using the read. Data files have many formats according to that. Our usages, you can extract. Okay, you can extract it easily. And similarly, you can also name the thing here. Okay, another data file. So this might be EMP CSV file I have extracted, and I made the column head not to display, and I changed the column names of column 1, column 2, column 3 like that. So the thing has been made. Okay, and this, as like the previous one, you can extract it. Okay. And in the case of CSV file, you can also specify the separator, okay, the space, okay, or the tab. So if you have any comma in between one data to another data, so you can separate that by tab. Okay, or even you can specify, instead of tab, you can specify the space. Okay, there is a possibility in having that. Okay. And this is the text file that I can make it. I want to make this especially for you. So to understand the fix and EMP. Okay, so EMP. This might be the EMP table that is in E colon. Okay, that is in E colon. And you can see the importance of it. What actually the fix command will do. Okay. Actually, you got actually here in the case of the previous extraction, it is not possible for you to edit. Okay, it is not possible for you to edit. But in the case of fixed one, you can edit that. You can edit that. So I want to change my annual income. Okay, I can change that, and similarly, I can save it. Okay, so such editing can also be possible. Okay, this is the command fixer. By using that, you can edit your table. Okay, and let me print it. See, the 1 lakh I have changed. That is reflected here. Okay, I have changed the 1 lakh for the first employee, John. That has been changed, and previously it was 90,000. Previously it was 90,000. I have changed to 1 lakh. The thing has been reflected. Okay. And similarly, importing, you can also read the tabular data files or text files, or the actually previous EMP file is a text file. EMP file is a text file. You can make it, and you can also mention the delimiters Either it might be a space, a colon, or comma, whatever that you like. Okay, and very simple syntax is nothing but read dot table file. Okay, if you want to read the text file, you can mention it as a table, or if you want to read the CSV file, you can mention dot CSV like that. Okay. And the thing goes on. Several other examples are also given here. Okay. And here, I want to write the data. So I read and I want to write it. Okay, and for that, it is required for me to install the right Excel. So I'm going to write that into Excel file. Okay, I want to write the data in Excel file. In such cases, I have to install the package specifically write Excel, and after that, I can write it into a particular thing. Okay. So let me show this one. So as per the required need, you can install it. So it takes a time. So it asks for the country. Right has been made. Okay. Now it is now for me to write the particular thing. Okay. Let me take write data. Okay. Actually, I have made that. Okay. Data. I have made that previously. So instead of going to that. So data has this one. So I'm going to write that into another file. Data, my path. I'm going to write it under this path. Okay, as d dot XLS or UHT. CSV.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, your
Yes.
voice is not audible and there is so much of background noise.
You have some background noise, madam.
Yes, sir, yes. And the participants are saying the voice is not clear in the chat box. They are not able to hear you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Let me make it now. Yes, ma'am. Sorry for the interruptions, participants. Actually, practical is going on here. Okay, that is the thing here, and I made an alternate arrangement. Okay. So you can mention. I think that up to this, you have any doubts, you can clarify. Any disturbances in the previous slides, you can clarify. So you have read the data, and similarly you can write it. Okay, and you can mention the path. You can mention the path upon mentioning the data what actually you want to write it, and you can mention the path here. Okay, I will show this in the last slide. Okay. And regarding the data frame, so it's a very important concept. It is a very important concept. So data frame is nothing but list. In another way, it is comprises of several components, and the components are numeric, character, logical, or even it can be a factors. Okay, and or even it can be a list, or it can be another data frame. Okay, or it might be a numeric matrices. Okay, and in data frame, in another way, it can be called as a table. Okay, in this case, here, let me show the example for that. Some restrictions also given here. So if you have a matrices list data frames, it provides many variables as a new data frame, as a columns, elements, and variables. Okay, and similarly, vectors and logical factors are also included, and these character vectors will be a factor. Okay, will be a factor. Okay, and similarly, vector structures appearing as a variables must be of same length. This is the very important thing. So if you include any vectors, and that should be of a same length, and there should not be any deviations in the length. Okay, and similarly for matrix structures also, okay, it should be of same row size. Okay, and a simple definition: a data frame is a table. Okay, consists of a array-like structure, which consists of one variable, or each row will represent a set of values. The characteristics is nothing but column names, row names must be unique. Okay, and data stored in the data frame can be a numeric, factor, or a string. Okay, and each column represents a set of data, and it should be must be of a same length. Must be the same length. Okay. And this might be the syntax for data frame. This is the dot operator. Okay, and followed by row names. You can specify the names of the rows, and you're going to check the rows. I will give a detailed thing in the next slide. Okay, so this might be the syntax of that. It is not essentially to have all these things, all these arguments. So as per your requirement, you can have it. Okay, and here, if you give check names true, okay, accordingly the actually you have to go with specific names for the rows. Okay, and you can check that thing. Okay, I'll show the next. You can understand. So the dot operator means that it can be a value or a tag, and this row names gives you the names of the rows, and check rows is if it is true. Okay, rows are checked according to its length and names. Okay, and check names gives you the name of the variables in the data frame, and it will be checked to ensure that it is correct and valid variable names. Okay, and it will not, if you make the check names as true, it will not allow you to have the replications or duplications on the names. Okay, and here fixed empty names is a logical thing, or true or false, which is nothing but represents true or false. And here it automatically constructs the name. Instead, if it is unnamed, it automatically constructs the name. If it is not, it gives you the space. Okay, it gives you the space. And string as a factors, if you didn't make this as a false, okay, automatically the data that is constructed for the data frame will be considered as factors. Okay, and by default it is false. Okay, if you make it true, the every data that will be converted to factors. Okay, and example given here, I am going to construct a data frame. So this might be this data dot frame construct or creates the data frame. So emp.data might be the data frame name, and it consists of 5 rows, and employee ID will be 1 to 5, and similarly it gives 5 names, and their salary has been mentioned here, and Their date of joining as is also mentioned. Okay, and here I'm not making all these things as a factors. Just simply it construct as a table. Okay, and I'll show it in the R workings. Okay, so emp dot. This is the result of that. Okay, and here, if you give str emp dot data, okay, it gives you the structure. Okay, it gives you the structure. For example, here emp IDs and string value or a numeric value are constructed. It gives you, it takes the value as 1 to 3 integer, and emp I underscore name is a string type, so it is a string type. These are all the values. Like that, it displays the structure. Okay, so I show that. Okay, you can understand very clearly, I think so. Okay, and similarly, the summary, the entire data frame summary will be displayed. Okay, what is actually the values, mean, median, and quantile and etc. will be displayed. First quantile and second quantile accordingly to that particular emp.data will be evaluated. That is a summary of the data. Okay, and here, as per this thing, I'm having emp ID, emp name, employee name, salary, and many data embedded. Instead, I want to have only the emp name and salary. I can construct from that. So this might be the syntax. So you can see the result of. Okay, it extracts the employee name and salary alone. Okay, so this is the thing provisions provided in R. Okay. And from which you can also extract first two rows alone. Okay, so this might be the syntax for that, and similarly you can print it. And specifically you can mention, I want to have third and fifth row with the second and fourth column. I can mention like this. Okay, I'll execute this one. So many more things to cover. Let me run faster. Okay. Okay, it displays third and fifth column, second and third row and fifth column, and second row and fourth column accordingly. So from this EMP data, you can take and you can compare it. Okay, third and fifth. Okay, and second and okay, takes Gary and the data. Okay, you can specifically extract a particular thing alone. And in that case, the previous EMP data, the department is missing. So you can also expand that. So that might be made by using this command. So I'm going to create a new field, okay, department. And as in this case, previously I had 5 employees. Okay, I had 5 employees. So 5 department values have to be mentioned. So if I neglect to give the last one, okay, finance is not given, only 4 values has been given. In that case, it gives you an error. Okay, in that case, it gives you an error. Okay, that is the thing, the restrictions given previously. So you should have equal number of matrices, equal number of rows, equal number of values. Okay, that is the thing mentioned. Okay, and here, now you can see. Okay, extra department has been added, and here if you delete finance, you can see an error will come. Okay, the error has occurred since it should have 5 department values. Okay, and similarly, if you want to add a new value, new row, okay, and you can make the thing like this. You can make the thing like this. So you're going to have the existing like this. Okay, and new data, so 6 to 8, you're going to make it. So another 4 or 5 values, 3 values are going to add it. So 3 persons ID, 3 names, and their salary and etc. has been given. Okay, and the department new field has been added, and their value is also included. and now you're going to add both the things. So for which you're going to add the row binder or binder. Okay, so the rows of emp.data and the new rows of new data will be binded, and that will be stored in final data. You can execute by your own. Now it is already 3:40, so let me execute it anyhow. Just copy and paste in. Okay. Thing made. Okay, you can have 1 to 8. Previously you had 1 to 5, and after that you added 3 different rows. These are the thing added, and that will be in final data. Okay, that will be in final data. And here one important point we have to look over it. One important point we have to look over it. So here in the previous EMP data, or even the construction has been made new data frame. So x1 with these values, x2 with these values, and x3 with these values. So here, if you make x1 alone, as per the previous one, if you want to make the EMP name alone, it is not possible. It gives you an error. Okay, so for which you want to extract a particular row or particular column alone, it is required for you to attach that. So that makes by attach function. So attach function allows you access the variables inside a data frame. Okay, if you want to make it a separate calling on that, you can make it. Okay, and I'll show this one. And you can see the data value. This is the thing added. Now if I press X1, it gives you an error, for which you have to make attach. 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 Not X1, it is data. Okay, now if I refer X1, I can extract it. X2, I can refer it. Okay. After the particular purpose has been over, okay, you have to detach it. Okay, so that is a command for detach. Okay, that is the meaning of detach. So you can remove upon making attaching, you can segregate it, and after over the particular functionality has been over, you can detach the data frame. Okay, so if you detach data, so the thing gets over, and if you once again refer X1 separately, it gives you an error. Okay, so to make that such a possibility, you can make attach, and you can upon the purpose has been over, you can unload the particular package. And these are some of the common thing you can make it. So if you have a huge data, lakhs and lakhs of data, in such cases you can mention a particular part alone, head, tail. So in the under head, you want to have on the top of the record 5 records you have to extract, and under the bottom of the record you want to extract 5 records. So you can make by using the head and tail options. And similarly, as like the previous, as I told previously, the summary and str, it gives you the minimum, median, and etc. And the structure gives you by str function. Okay, and apart from that, you can also have these files. Type of gives you the type of the variable, class, and what type of class the particular data is, and you can name the columns, and you can know the length by using the length function. And about the dimensions, number of dimensions you are made in the data frame can be retrieved by using the dim, and number of rows and number of columns may be known by using the n row and n column for a particular data frame. And till now, any doubts? Ma'am, anything in the chat box, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Shall I proceed, ma'am? Any doubts, ma'am?
Sure, sure. No doubts so far, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Let me continue. Okay. Categorical, you can categorize the variables. Next concept we are going to make in R. So another important concept. Normally we used to categorize based on heights, okay, and based on their performance or based on their gender, okay. And in this case, particularly we need a data structure. Okay, such a data structure is nothing but the factor. Okay, and moving this, so such a thing is called factors, and in this case, each character will be mapped with the code. So as per the thing, you have the performance of the particular faculties, excellent, average, good, bad, and etc. And if you make the thing as excellent, it will be referred as one. So inside your compiling, these variables will be made or coded as 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Okay. And factors represents categories, and by which you can group. Okay, you can group, and the indication will be done by the numeric codes. Okay. And this might be the example given here. So you are provided with dice. If a die is rolled, okay, for about 7 times, for the 7 times you will have the probabilities of that. Okay, and here normally a dice will have 6 faces, so that is mentioned as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and for this I'm going to create a factor. Okay, the y represents these values, and levels represents the number of possibilities of the dice phase, and I'm going to make the labels as the word format 1, 2 up to 6. Okay, and I'm going to create a factor named passive. So let me have the execution of that. So y you can have these values, and next possible dice phases are 1 to 6. Yeah, that also made. And I'm going to label. I'm going to have the labels for these things. Labels. Okay, and I'm going to create a factor for it. Okay, now I can print it. So number of phases is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The possibilities or probability is 1 to 6. The occurrences is made here, and the possibilities are made as levels. Okay, so by using the levels, you can also make it. You can access the particular phases. Okay, and you can create the factor by factor of x. Okay, as the functionality made here. Okay, see here I have created the factor, and I have stored in this particular variable. Okay, and by using this variable, I can access the values of this outcomes of the observations. Actually, observations of dice that is rolled about 7 times. Okay. So this is the factor thing. So factor command. Either you can refer directly as a factor, or you can mention the levels. Okay, actually in this case, here the labels has been given as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that. I want to change that order instead. So that can also be made possible by mentioning the levels separately. So next example gives you that. Okay. So this is the occurrences of the human beings or the people what they prefer. Okay, and these levels will be juice, lemonade, and water. Okay. And if you create a factor like that, it gives you the thing like this. So let me display it. So you can have these things like this, and its levels has been made like this. So you want to change this, so such a thing can be possible. Such a thing can be possible. You can change that by using the levels. Okay, and you can see that. So levels, okay, you can change instead of, so normally if you didn't mention the levels separately, okay, actually it makes in ascending order. Okay, it will make the levels in ascending order. You want to make specifically, I don't want to have the ascending order, you want to change that, you can make the levels as like this. You can mention, I want to have the levels as like this, in this order. You can mention the order. Okay. That is a thing here. You can also change the levels. And in this case, another option, most probably factors are referred as a classes or even objects, and that can be made, okay, can be removed. That class effects can be removed actually by using unclass. Okay, so in the case of previous one, you have developed the phases as in words 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. Okay, in words the thing has been represented. Instead, you can break that. The object will be constructed in the thing as OND, TWO like that. The word format of these things. You can unclass that. You can unclass that, and upon unclassing it, it will be displayed in numeric. Okay, and such an example is given here. So factor is this juice, lemonade, juice, water has been made. And if you unclass it, automatically the result will be like this. Okay, and but in the case of levels, it will be displaying like this. Okay. This already told. You want to change the order, you can change it. Specifically, you can mention the levels as per the wish, the order you want. And this is the thing here. And let me execute it. X will be like this, and I'm going to unclass X. You can see the attribute levels has been made like this. Okay, and what the value of this function level of X? This is my question. You can see. Okay, it gives you juice, lemonade, and cola. Okay. You can specifically, this level function will make the levels. So X will in what level the X has displayed, you can make it. Okay. 1 represents juice, 2 represents lemonade, and 3 represents water. And this probabilities has been mentioned 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. And another example regarding the factors. And this income, I'm going to make it. I'm using ordered factor. Okay, I'm using ordered factor in which the person's salary has been made. Those whose salary beyond beyond a particular value is high, and beyond below is referred as below, and medium might be referred as not a high, not low. That is referred as medium. Okay, and here the level you can upon constructing the factor by using the ordered. It implied ordered factors. It gives you the thing level as low, less than, medium, less than, high. And this particular thing, if you unclass it, it displays 3, 3, 1, 2, 2. That is the thing 3, 3, 1, 2, 2. This is the ordered factor. And the thing in the case of levels, it represents the relationship between each level. And another factor, and you want to make it, you're constructing a list and you're converting that into factor. So as dot factor of X gives you the factor of this. So here this X is up to this okay, and after this function this X will be factor. And another example has been given here, and I'll explain it. So it refers the heights of the human beings, weights, and gender, and constructing the input data based on height, weight, and gender, and it gives you the. So you can understand why we are using factors. That is an example here. Okay? So in what way the factor can be used? So this, what is the application of factor? This example gives you. So you can classify based on heights, okay, on or even, okay, weights or even gender. Okay, and up to this is nothing but a input data, right, data frame. And after this, so you're making you're converting the input data, that is image data, okay, and based on gender. Based on gender, you're going to convert that. You are making whether it is a factor or not. Surely it is not a factor, and you can convert that into factor by using the factor of input data. Okay? Factor of input data. You can convert that, okay, to the particular thing. Okay, you are checking here whether the thing is factor. Surely it is not a factor. We are not constructed a thing as a factor. Just we are constructed as a data frame, and you can convert that into a factor. Okay, and based on gender, you can convert it. Okay, and from which you can get the analytics. You can analyze the data. Okay, so in what category the heights are higher, weights are higher. Accordingly, you can mention the requirement, and according to that, you can make the factor constructions. And that's all about factors. And next, writing your own functions. So if some example has been given, instead of I'm going towards syntax, I directly came into the example. This makes you self-explanatory. Okay, no need to have more explanation on that. Okay, so here I'm going to construct a function for Fahrenheit to Celsius. So function temp. If I'm going to get the Fahrenheit as a value, okay, and it converts that into Celsius. Okay, so this might be your function name. And upon converting that, the value temp underscore C will be returned to the main. Okay, this is the function. I'm giving 212 to convert into Celsius, and the thing goes on. Okay. And this one makes you similarly Celsius to Kelvin, and you can construct a function like that. And another function to sum up the data, you're going to give two inputs. Okay, and here one input is predetermined. Okay, one input is predetermined. It will be of 10, and another one you're going to get into that, and you're going to sum up, and that will be returned to it. Okay. And another example, you're making the midpoint, okay, and you're passing the data, okay, Z and 3. Okay, so Z is nothing but all the values of 0. You're making initialize at 0. That is data, and midpoint you're going to make it as 3, and it finds the mean of that and it calculates it, and the new data will be returned to it. Okay. And actually the function is for finding the center point of the particular data. And this function, next part, you're going to create your own operator, okay, your own binary operator, and the operator is defined. Actually, exclamation mark is the new internal character that represents the operator, and the percentage symbol will accompany it. Any symbol can be defined, and you can make a function on that, and you can return it on this symbol. And wherever if you use that symbol, that operation will be done. And anything means that any symbol can be represented as an operator. And but you have to define the function. You have to define what actually it should do. This operator, you have to define it. Okay, very simple. That asterisk is a binary operator which multiplies two different functions. Okay, and like that you can define a particular thing. And an example given here. So the test, okay, test percentage is an operator that used to multiply two different operand. So the function has been created with A and B. So this will be get as an input, and you're going to multiply that, and that will be returned to this. That is a function. So what actually, if you give 2% test percentage 4, so 2 and 4 is A and B, and that will be multiplied and it will be returned as 8. Okay, so instead of asterisk, so you have defined the operator like this. So by having such a facility, you can define your own operator for your research. And similarly, the thing goes on. And in the case of function, as I said before, So the mult in this case is a predefined default value. Okay, no need to mention that. So it is defined as 100, and that will be paused over here, and that makes the calculation. And in the from the today's class, okay, we started with dot operator. Okay, the special type of argument is nothing but dot. It means that we're going to have a number of after which we're going to have number of arguments. We're going to have number of arguments. Okay, so such a facility is possibility. It is not determined. Okay, if you know the number of parameters that is to be passed inside the function, you can mention it. But it is not possible for you to know. Upon runtime, it is possible for you to know. In such a cases, you can use this dot operator. So, which instead of going with two parameters, instead of going with two parameters, so you can make dots. That means that you can make more than two. So, n number of parameters can be passed if you mention that with dot. Okay, 3 dots. There is a function given here. So fun is a function name. I have initially I know about n alone. Okay, and after which, so these values will be passed, and that will be created as a list, and you're going to join it. Okay, and the collapse character will be space, and that will be printed. Okay, that will be printed another way. Another functional space that will be pasted on your console. Okay, so these values will be pasted on your console. So initially, you know n alone had to be passed. After which, you may not know the number of parameters that should be passed. So you can determine at the time of calling. So such a facility is available. That is dot argument, or it is ellipse. In another way, it can be called as ellipsis. And similarly, instead of having vectors alone to pass, functions can also be passed as a parameter. And such an example here, I'm going to consider the normalization factors, another function, and that will be passed. I'm going to find the mean of that, and the mean of that will be made. And let me have a crispier explanation on this statistical models. There is possibility with R, and further explanation will be given by Dr. A. Aruna Madam on tomorrow's session. So here in a statistical model that supports supported by R, but it includes so these things: Gaussian calculation, binomial, Gaussian distribution, binomial, Poisson, inverse Gaussian, etc. It goes on. And these family names will include several different links like this. Okay, link functions, logit or prohibit function or log, clog, etc. Okay, and each and every distribution will have its own mentions. Okay. So here for thing here, probit is nothing but a parameter. Okay, that can be passed or lying between the unit intervals. Okay, 0 or 1 like that. Such a thing. You can make the theta to lie between 0 or 1. In between that, if the particular functionality is available, parameters, you have to mention it. You can use prohibit. And similarly, logit something but the logistic regression. Okay, and this can be followed in logit models. Okay, and similarly, you can have several other models, several other link functions. So for as per this case, I have switched to generalized linear models. The function is nothing but GLM, and this might be the syntax of it. Okay, and you're going to mention the formula, what type of formula data you're going to have it, and then what type of family and what type of link you're going to make it, and data frame, any data frame you're going to use, that will be the data for it. Okay, and that is be the generalized linear model that will be assigned with the way vector thus mentioned here. Okay, and an example given here for binomial distribution. So the ages of different people and how many times the tested has been made and how many of them are blind. So in 20, about 50 tests as conducted and from which 6 of them are blind. And similarly, in the case of 70, upon 50 testers made, 44 were blind. So this might be the problem. Okay, and this might be the problem. And for this, the construction has been made. X is nothing but the ages. N, the 5 times this 50. The number of tests for all the cases is 50. So I'm making the rep function. So there is a replication. So you're going to replicate 50 5 times. Okay, and their person, how many persons are blind is represented as Y. And these things is assigned with this particular variable. Okay. And to fit into the GLM, we're going to bind it. Okay, first thing, the response vector. Okay, have to be a binary data, and it should be with the 0 or 1 vector. Okay, and you're going to construct a 2-column matrices, and either it can be success or failure. And we're going to construct the factor, first level failures, and 1 to represent the successes. And this might be the thing what you're going to construct the matrix. Okay, I'm going to combine the C binder. Okay, let me execute it and you can understand. So I'm going to construct the binomial model upon prohibit link function and under the variable FMP and under the default type. Okay, logistic regression. Okay, by FML. So by using this particular function, I'm going to construct the. So let me show with an example these executions. So initially, I'm making this. Okay, so initial data constructor like this. Okay, the table what you have seen on the slide is displayed. And next, I'm going to make the matrix, or I'm going to bind the C bind. Previously, we've seen a R bind, that is row binding. So rows are binded, and this C bind, it binds the columns. You can see that how the thing has been binded. So actually, what you're doing is you're having the Y value, okay, and you're having the N 50. So you can see the 50 is get subtracted from this. So you will get the thing in reverse. You can see it. Okay, so this might be the values, and I'm making that okay, and this might be the thing, and I'm going to construct the linear model based on the prohibit link function. So you can see this might be the result of the binomial functions. And similarly, you can understand about these things, I think so. As you're all learning to statistical purposes, you know the thing how the thing has been distributed. Based on the this might be the okay. And this is the initial functionality that can be used. Similarly, you can have many more functions. Okay, many more like this. Okay, and based on the mass or density, you can use this D binom, and based on the probability, based on the quarantile, and based on the randomization, you can have the thing. Okay. So some more functions is also available with the thing. So this might be the explanation here. So X and Q is nothing but quantiles, and P represents probabilities, number of observations, size, that trials, 0 or the thing, how we are going to construct the probabilities. Okay, and prob represents the probabilities, and you can have the log and log dot P that represents the probabilities of P, the occurrence of the probabilities, and tail if it is true. By default, it gives you the result as okay, X, the samples what you have took, that is less than the relations. Okay, and if not, it is greater than. and the thing here, plotting, and plotting the binomial. So this is different from the previous example what I told. So I'm going to construct a binomial curve. Okay. Here, I have made the density binomial, okay, mass the binomial distribution. The values are between 46 to 54. Okay, and delimiter is 100, and I'm going to make 0.5 difference among that. You can see the values, summation of that. Okay. So sorry, I made a okay. And we can have the sequences of that. I'm going to plot. Okay. But before going into that, I'm making the k values. Okay, and pi, that is 22/7 pi, and log is true. And I'm going to make the log density, okay, function under the density binomial. Okay, and this might be the thing constructed for the observation. Okay, and here the header has been made in the function. The header has been given as denorm. Okay, denorm log true. Okay, this is the thing I have made here. Okay, this is the header of that. Okay, that is a thing of main. Okay, main title of that. Okay. It's given like that, and I can also mention the color. Let me minimize it. Now constructor the thing as render. Okay, so the part which is true, the part which is true, and other part is might be referred as the another density function. And further, I can text the thing with mtext function, text with the mtext function, and similarly I can make by mtext function will display the comment on the chart. Okay, display the comment on the chart. Okay. Let me make a single, only one function. So now you can see, okay, you can see this applied. It is applied here in text. Okay, k log equivalent to true. That is the thing we have made it. Okay, to the adjacent 0. Okay, and extended range. You can also make this one to display on the. According to the mtext will display on the graph. Okay, will display on the graph. Whatever the text you want to make it, you can make it. Okay. Next, towards the R graphics. So here in the case of R graphics, the graphical device driver is automatically installed. By default, it is get installed. If you are using Windows, so it supports X11. X11. Sorry, X11 is for Unix operating system, and Windows functionality is for Windows operating system, and parts for Mac OS. So while installing R, these drivers, okay, graphics drivers will by default get installed. So according to the OS you are installing, while installing it, it asks for it. Either you want whether you are installing Windows or Mac OS or Linux or Unix. And the past, yesterday I told while installing. Okay, upon preferring the OS, this particular drivers will be get installed automatically. And in the case of graphics, you're having 3 different categories of functions. High-level plotting functions, so by which you can plot it. Okay, you can plot it. And low-level, you can mention the labels, legends, how the lines should be, what type of line character should be. Okay, and decoration items. Okay, that is
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me, ma'am? Yes, ma'am. I think that's some network issue. I don't know where I have stopped, where I have disconnected. I don't know. Ma'am, is my slides are visible?
No, sir, your presentation is not visible.
Now, ma'am?
Yes, sir, it is visible now.
Where I stopped, where I disconnected, ma'am?
It is 115, sir, slide 115.
Oh, with, okay. Okay, let me continue. Yes, ma'am. Actually, I started R graphics. Actually, now I am audible, no, ma'am? Shall I continue, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you're audible. You can continue.
Yes. According to the operating system, while installing R, these packages. If you have the OS as Unix, so X11, this graphics driver get automatically installed. Similarly for Windows function and patch for Mac OS function. So this automatically gets installed. So without this, is it not possible for you to have the graphics visible. Okay. And in this case, of graphics, you're having three groups of functions. High-level plotting functions, low-level and interactive graphics. High-level plotting functions is nothing but that makes you to plot either it might be histogram or bar chart or box plot, okay, or even you want to construct a line chart. So all these functions are supported by high-level plotting functions. So in plotting these functions, it is required for you to mention where actually the data, okay, data you are representing, what kind of data you are representing, and legends, okay, all those things have to be mentioned. So such a thing is nothing but that is another way, giving more information on the plotting. This low-level plotting functions will be used, and to make the interactions with the chart, you can have interactive graphics functions. And some of the plotting are XY plots, okay, and you can plot the factors. Data frame can be constructed, and that data frame can be plotted. Okay, and these plot will make you to enable your graphics drivers. Okay. And apart from that, plottings, these things might be a line. okay, line or dots, or you can specify the characters actually what you want to make it, and plus you want to mention plus for the symbols instead of dots, instead of lines. So those things can be mentioned in plot functions. So instead of going with line or like, you can go with histograms. You can go with histograms, and the histograms, the values actually will be provided, and it constructs the histograms. Percentage graphs is also possible with that. Percentage histograms is also possible. You can construct that. Okay. As I'm not going to have such a detailed thing in this graphics, I'm going to demonstrate only few things. As the time is running, is actually 4:20. I will conclude within 10 minutes. I will have only a simple function, and with that let me conclude. Okay, and here in this case, images that gives you the grids of boxes of structures. So you want to mention several rectangles, and from which you can have your own constructions. Okay, and such a thing is image, and you can also construct the contour graphs. Okay, and three-dimensional view charts is also possible. Okay. And in the case of low level, you can mention the points, okay, and legends, and you can fill with the particular verticals or colors, okay, and you can make the lines, decorations, okay, decorations. You can make the line with the higher styles can be changed, and you can mention the special characters, okay, or plotting characters like that. You can change that from existing to a new type of default to new, as per your wish you can define it. So these are all the functions you can make it. Okay. And in further decorating, you can have the axis mentioning what kind of x-axis data gives you, y-axis data gives you, and what the actual chart is giving you the title and etc. Okay, can be made. Okay, let me have the example of this alone. And x and y is defined with these values. Okay, and I'm going to plot the x and y . Okay, so in this case, I have plotted the special characters as plus. Okay, you can make such a thing. Okay, you can see it. Okay, the plus, while plotting characters plus. Similarly, you can mention accordingly. Okay. And similarly, these thing might be useful for you for your research work. So what I have did is, so I have made the values, and I'm mentioning the type of thing is nothing but a line. I have mentioned the color of that is red, and x-axis mentions the month, and y-axis mentions the rainfall, and the title is rainfall chart. You can see that rainfall month. Okay, and the points has been mentioned with O. Okay, and this particular chart means for rainfall in every month. And further also you can decorate it. So this is the value for V, and similarly for T. So you can make sense towards that. See, blue color. Minimize it, you can see both. So line with the T values, the points has been made with O, and the color of that is blue. So this is T and this is B. Okay, so while you are plotting for your research, you're going to compare several different methods. Similarly, you can mention the color, okay, with COL, and you can plot it. Okay, and the x-axis and y-axis can be named, and further these values can also be changed. Okay. And this is nothing but your bar chart. Similarly, simple thing. Okay, simple thing. Simply, I'm going to construct the bar chart. Okay, it's not displayed. Okay, bar chart, bar plot actually, and histogram. And you can also construct the histogram. V is nothing but a vector or data frame or whatever the value you want to mention it, you can mention the data and gives you the title. Xlab gives you the x-axis and the delimiters specify the range of values of x, y. And if you want to introduce some breaks in between, you can mention that. And colors, and you want to have the border of that, you can mention that. Okay. And this constructs that. And one thing I want to mention specifically in this case, here I am going to construct a histogram for these values. Okay, and according to that, the thing has been made. So x weight and color will be yellow and border will be blue. Okay, and here apart from these two values, we are having another command. So I think that I'm going to construct this histogram under the name histogram.png. So whatever the thing I have made, constructed, that will be stored under the name histogram.png. Okay, and this one makes you to confirm the construction. Upon giving this dev.off, it tells you that this particular histogram has been saved in this name. Let me demonstrate that. So instead of making the thing, so now I can see. Okay, now let me list dot files. You can see in my location this histogram.png will be. So you can see the file name histogram.png. Okay, that is in my. Let me display it. So the thing getting loaded will be delayed. Meanwhile, let me continue with the slide. Let it load. Okay, last one slide. And this is regarding to regarding with the bar chart. Similarly, you can also plot the bar plot. So gender means male and female, and workshops means that a particular in an institution there might be several departments, and each department faculty will be engaged in different types of workshops. Okay, that is a data mean this workshops. In your department there are about 10 to 15 faculties, so set of 2 will attend a particular workshop, or SAS or SPSS, like that. So that details will be there in this particular workshops. Now I'm going to construct that based on the gender. So how many male have attended R? How many male have attended SAS? Okay, and how many male undergone SPSS? Similarly, females. Okay, and so based on that, I can construct the bar chart. So such a thing is made with that is a thing I mentioned here. Okay, so for this I have to declare gender and the workshop. I should declare. I have to make it possible with gender and workshop. Then this particular chart will be working. Okay, so let me see whether the thing. So this is the file histogram.png that is stored as an image. Okay. So, if I give this surely it will not work. I have to define gender and workshop. So let me minimize shut down this. So you can practice it. You can define the gender and workshop, and accordingly you can make the definition as like this. Okay, and you can make the title as number of males and females. So /n means that this in each workshop will be in second line. Okay, it is a new line character. And legend, here the parenthesis will be there, and it will be in the top right. Okay, and you're going to make male and female in that, and you're going to prefer the color dark gray and light gray. Okay, and for female it is dark gray, and for male it is light gray. Okay, so that is the thing, filling of the bar. Okay, bar will be dark gray for female and light gray for male. So that is the thing. You are going to have a bar chart. Okay. So any queries, participants? So previously I executed the write command. Okay, let me make it now. A few minutes is there. Okay. Let me check whether the thing is with me. The data set that I have. I'm not having that. Okay. So let me execute that. The data will be this. Okay, I'm going to write that. And data, the path. I have to mention the path. Actually, I have to make it like this. So if you mention single slash, you can go with the slash. Actually, I have to do single C. Construct I made. The thing made. Okay. So I can see the files. So listed out files. So here you can see what actually the name da.csv. Let me see whether da.csv is there. Yeah, it is here. Okay, let me have it in R. So da.csv. So the same thing. Okay, and the data you have. So this is the data. Okay, and that has been overwritten with da.csv. Actually, I have changed the data as x1, x2, and x3. I have constructed a data frame now. So that is a difference. Okay, that is a difference here. Actually, data will be used like this. Data is subtype, gender, and expression. Actually, this is the actual data while constructing. Okay, and after which in R, I have changed the data as this one. Okay, and this one is written on da.csv. So this is written on da.csv. Okay, and I got the file. Any doubts, professors? So you can have my mail ID noted. So let me type the mail ID in the chat box. If any queries, you can text me. So this is my mail ID. So any doubts, any clarification you want to make it, you can make it. Over to the organizers.
Participants are requested to kindly make a note of the email ID posted in the chat box. And in case if you have any doubts, you can contact sir through the mail ID.
It's my pleasant duty to thank Dr. Balakrishnan Natarajan for sharing his knowledge with the participants. Sir, your sessions were indeed content-packed and the participants were able to assimilate your lectures quite comfortably. We from the Sashun take this moment to share our heartfelt thanks in appreciation of your peerless performance in imparting knowledge on the R programming software. We shall meet again tomorrow at the same time as today for the continuation of sessions on R programming software by Dr. S. Aruna ma'am. Now I request all the participants to fill in the feedback forms using the link posted in the chat box. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.